So good evening, and then thank you very much for being with us here today. Thank you for accepting this conversation, which I'm very much looking forward. Given your diverse background, I'm sure this will be very inspirational for a lot of people later. So thank you very much. Anna, can we start? Can you tell us about your journey on how you got to where you are today?
Thank you, Marina, and thank you very much for this opportunity. So I'm happy to share. My name is Anna Karadjuleski, and I'm the global head of HR for Integra. I've been with the company for 11 years, based in Singapore. We are petrochemical traders. I started with the company. I came to the company on a project base, and fast forward 11 years later, I'm still with the company, and I'm heading the global HR. And along the lines, also along the way, rather, picked up the admin department and work on more corporate items like the corporate communications. If you ask me like this, I'd say actually my parents. I've never thought about this, to be honest, but this really comes to my mind as a first choice. My parents and the way they raised me and my brother really shaped me and impacted my life choices. My mother is an economist and worked as an educator. My father was an economist too and worked in the petrochemicals industry. So that's probably where I got my affinity for the industry from. And I think I've always seen very independent parents who raised me to be very independent, but also to do what I want to do. So they always treated me equally towards my brother, and I had all the opportunities in life. So I'm very grateful for that. For me, I think I've been very lucky. Firstly, I had very supportive parents. They were, I thought we just defined role models. So I never, when I started my career, I actually didn't start thinking about differences. I just assumed things were equal. That's probably very naive, but that's I think how I approach things. So secondly, I was very lucky that my first step into the corporate world as such, I mean, outside of academics, was actually with Integra, because I never experienced a broken run or a glass ceiling. It was actually quite the opposite. So I had really, really great opportunity to learn, to grow, and that this goes on until now. I had to grab those opportunities as well. So it's not dangling in front of your face, and if you don't grab them, they still dangle there 10 years later. But I was up for the challenge, and I was supported all the way along. And I think this came from very strong leadership in the company, and the belief that you need to find the right person for the right job and to support the strengths and capabilities of that person. We as an organization have already a high number of female employees. So more than 50% of our workforce are actually women, with a high number of women in senior positions within the company. This comes from very strong leadership, and this comes, of course, top down. We do not go out into market looking for women specifically, but we go into the market with the aim to find the right person for the right job. And that's also how we look at promoting people and developing people. It's identifying talent, capabilities, but also people's wishes, aspirations. Some people are very happy staying what they're doing. Other people want to grow and want to move into other positions. And we are very culturally diverse. We gain a lot from it. Yes, it's sometimes challenging, but we learn a lot from each other. And at some point we counted, I think we had more than 20 different nationalities working for us. So it's quite a lot of different languages spoken, different cultural beliefs and backgrounds, but that's also what makes it very interesting.
Yes.
And we definitely leverage on that. looking back at the past year and a half almost, I would categorize it in 3 stages. The first stage was the stage of shock. Probably everyone suddenly got in, and there was a lot of change needed in a very, very short period of time. So your reality started kicking in very, very quickly. Second stage was where we kind of gotten used to the new reality, kind of, I'm saying. And the third stage was where things now are a little bit calmer, not necessarily always better, but calmer, we're more used to it. Things have settled down a little. So I think all these 3 stages had their challenges, or still have. Especially communication. I think that was one of the biggest problems. We're a company that leverages a lot on personal communication, on face-to-face meetings, or business traveling, people just spending time together in the office, brainstorming. Suddenly that was all not there. So how do you pull together your people and align them, talk to them on a regular basis, engage them? That was, I must say, that was, I mean, like probably for everybody else, a challenge. And not everyone reacts the same way to change. It's also having the managers had to deal with different people reacting in very different ways, and making sure that people were not forgotten along the way. From our side is firstly acknowledging that it was difficult. Not for managers to acknowledge, but also for the organization as such, from the leadership side or from the management, top management side, to acknowledge that it was not easy. Secondly, checking in with people, how they're doing, trying to help them to arrange their schedules differently. I think by engaging with people and over time, with discipline setting in for everybody, I think people arrange themselves within their circumstances pretty well. It's important to start educating them early, because our industry is not self-evident or what we're doing. So it's about educating. I was lucky because I had a father working in the petrochemical industry, so I had kind of an idea what that was. But for people who have never had a contact point with the petrochemical industry, it's difficult to imagine what that is and whether that's a career to work in. So I think it's good to go out early. EPCA does as well, or is trying to achieve, to go out early and educate at a school level, in university, to show what we're actually doing in this industry and how it affects our daily lives, because no one can live without that industry. Our phones we hold on, our laptops we work with, everything basically is impacted by that industry. It helps to have the individualized approach for people, to give them growth opportunities, but also to leverage on their talents, I would say. So our mentoring is still very much focused on that, and it can be soft skills related, so more on communication skills, negotiation skills, general maybe body language in negotiations, but it can also be technical skills. So we have a lot of expertise in the company, and that's where maybe it's good to draw a line to different generations within the company, because our oldest employee is 74 and our youngest is 24. So we have a huge range of people in the company, and we see it as a big benefit to draw on the experience of our older employees, or who have been with us for many years.
You you said about that your father is one of the person that inspired you to be where you are today in the petrochemical industry. So what would be your thoughts and ideas on how we can motivate more young women to consider the petrochemical sector if their father is not coming from there?
I think it's educating, it's promoting the petrochemical industry. I think a lot is being done to move away from that kind of rusty, old-fashioned feel it has. I think it's quite an interesting, exciting industry because it impacts our daily lives. So I think if you explain that to people, it opens up different perspectives to young women, but in general, young talent. And I believe the talent is out there. We just have to reach out. And I also believe is one way is to keep an open mind. It's very hard to always find the person that fits 100% to the role. It's very rare, to be honest. I've probably never come across a person like this. And by being open-minded, and I think that's what we are, and when we recruit, yeah, sometimes it takes a bit more time, but it gives us more flexibility, and it gives us more opportunity to find an interesting person who adds on a different perspective to the team, which I think is very, very important in an industry like we are in. Things we are doing is we include different set of interviewers. It is always a woman and a man involved. We don't have only female interviewers or only male interviewers. This just helps us to give different perspectives because people listen differently. They see and observe different things. So we make sure that all interviewers give their input. It's really, I think, in the company culture, and that's something where it has to change, that keep an open mind. Keep an open mind, not just whether it's a woman or a man or what nationality they have, what language they speak, what religious background they have. It's finding the right person for the right job. You want, ultimately, the goal is, and everyone should work towards that, to find the best person for the job.